Hi there, my name is Angela Rudy and I'm from Oh Sugar Events. Today we're going to be working on these pretty little floral tea cookies. Now these are great for weddings, bridal showers, baby showers, Mother's Day, Valentine's Day, even Easter. I can't wait to show you. First thing we're going to need is a blank sugar cookie. Now we're going to be piping an outline, so we'll need our royal icing. I use a one consistency fits all, which means I can both pipe with it and flood with it. So let's get started. When I'm piping, I'm going to touch down and I'm going to work above, drop the line down at the corner, continue going. As I get to the corner, I slow down, drop it, pick it up, all in one continuous motion. Drop it down, pick it up, and as I get to my starting point, when I'm ending, I ease up on the pressure so I don't have one big glob in the corner. Great, so now we have piped our outline. We're going to go ahead and flood. So using the same icing, I'm going to get going. When I'm flooding, I want to make sure that I'm touching that line that we just put down. I don't want to see any gaps in between. So I usually go back and forth in a zigzag motion, and I'm working either from the left to the right or from the top to the bottom. So we have one fluid, continuous flood going. And usually I'm very generous when I'm flooding. I find that when I get skimpy, that's when I get those dips or those valleys in my flood. So more is better. Although there is such a thing as too much. I have been too generous and it has gone over my pipeline. So we need to find that happy medium. All right, so we are flooded. And now we're gonna do a wet on wet technique, and we're gonna put polka dots in this wet icing. So when I do polka dots, I start right in the middle. In the center, I'm gonna go right across. I'm gonna do about 4 polka dots. I find the fewer, the better. Too many polka dots, it gets a little busy. And now to make them uniform, I'm going right above that line of polka dots I just did, but I'm splitting the center right above it. I'm gonna do the same thing right below it. Right in between that first center line, I'm doing this other line of polka dots. And I'm gonna go above, and now between that second line, I'm gonna go right in between. This gives me these perfect little polka dots. All right, pretty easy. And since this is a wet on wet technique, what's really nice is these pink little polka dots are gonna melt right into that white background and give us a nice flush surface to work right on top of. All right, now once our flood has set up, now we can do some of the fun detailing. Today we're doing little roses. Now I have students and they get worried about doing little roses, but really it is such an easy technique. It is 2 steps, a blob and a squiggle. I know we can do blobs and we can definitely do squiggles. Now these blobs, that's what I'm doing right now, are just little circles, and I want them kind of good size, smaller than a dime, but not too teeny tiny. The bigger they are, the more detail, more squiggle we can fit on top. I also am trying to be careful that my blobs don't touch each other, because if they were, then they would kind of melt all together and become one giant blob. So I want a little bit of definition in our roses. I also don't need them too high profile. Low is fine. And as I work my way to the outside of this corner, I am making them a little bit smaller, tapering them off. All right, so here are our blobs. Pretty easy. And the next step, we're going to detail them. We're going to put the squiggle on top. Now the squiggle really is just a spiral, starting from the outside and working our way in, but we're not going to do a straight spiral. We're going to scallop that spiral, and that's going to give us the petal effect. Super easy. All right, so I want my roses to look nice and open and full, so I'm going to put that scalloped spiral on the very outside of my blobs, making them look nice and open. I also am trying to make sure that I use very easy pressure, because I barely want any icing coming out. I want this detail on top to look very wispy and light and delicate. All right. And it's really, when this detail dries, it looks fantastic. It really comes to life. So we're quickly going to detail all these guys, working from the outside to the inside. And it's really fast and looks really great. This is one of my favorite decorating techniques. So pretty. All right, so now we have a bunch of roses, but we really need to fill them in, really get this shaped up. So how I'm going to do that, I'm going to start with tucking in green leaves all around. This is going to elongate my corner shapes. And to do a leaf, I'm just using a round number 1 tip, same consistency icing. I'm just going to press and just give a little pull. Press and pull. I'm tucking these in all around these roses. I usually like to do them in 1s and 2s. So I'm going to do this in a couple of passes. So my first pass, I'm just going to do single leaves. I'm going to go over to the opposite corner and do the same thing. The reason I don't do the 2 leaves together is I don't want them again to kind of smush together. So by the time I finish this second corner doing these leaves, my first corner, those leaves will be set up enough where now I can do my second pass, and now I'll have 2 individual leaves. And same thing on the opposite corner. Now we are almost done. Just one more detail and this cookie is finished. So now I'm going to go back in with the final detail. We're going to fill in and elongate our corner shapes, making them nice and lacy and delicate. I'm doing these little, what I think of as either flower buds or little berries. I'm just touching down, and whatever icing comes out, that's how big I want these tiny little dots of color. First I'm doing the blue, and you can group them in 1s and 2s just like we did our leaves, but these are so small they're not going to touch each other. So we've done the blue, and now I'm going to go back with the pink that we used for our polka dots and do the exact same thing. Just a little hint of more color, teeny tiny little details. Same thing across, tuck them in wherever you like. And that is it. A beautiful little floral tea cookie. Thanks for watching.